Tori here today with something a little different. I thought it would be fun to make some little art canvases and to take you along for the ride. I've never done this before. I don't know if it's going to work, but I really wanted to try and I thought it would be fun to bring you along. So I've had this desire lately to do something like artistic that is something you keep that you could put up on your wall, and I thought this would be a good way to start. So I purchased these 2 years ago and have never used them, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. I got these 3 little canvases, and there's 3 in this pack, and let's see, they're 4 by 4, and I got them at Paper Chase. So if you're in the UK, you know that store. It's a super cute store, like my favorite place in the UK. And I paid £1. So that I think works out to about $2 Canadian, or, well, probably $2.50 Canadian, $2 American. And there's just 3 of them in this package, and I thought it would be fun to make some artwork for my sister. So those of you who have been on my channel for a while, you know my sister has been in Kenya the last 2 years, and she's back. She's going to be back for the next 5 months or so, and she just got an apartment nearby, and I helped her move in and everything, and I thought it would be fun to make a set of 3 art pieces that she could hang in her apartment, and they're tiny, so I figured this way they'd be something that after 5 months when she picks up and goes somewhere else, because she's planning on going somewhere else, she could take them with her and they wouldn't take up that much space. So I have no clue if this is going to work, so hopefully it does, and if it didn't, it only cost me £1, and honestly these were sitting in my stash, so it's not like it even cost me anything for that. And then otherwise, it'll just be fun to play with my supplies. So I don't actually know if gesso is necessary because it is a canvas, but I think the gesso might help give it a little bit of grit, or tooth, as Missy likes to say, so that things will hold on to them. So I'm just going to use my palette knife and spread the gesso over top of these. Okay, so I just applied a thin coat of gesso using this palette knife, which I just got at a local art supply store. And then the gesso that I'm using is just white Faber-Castell gesso, but I feel like anything could work. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to dry these off, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I gessoed them, they're dry, and I'm going to move on to the next step. So before I do that, I want to tell you what my inspiration is. I love my little sister, and she's so courageous and amazing, and I'm just so proud of her. And I have this song in mind that I really wanted to be inspired by today, and I thought maybe I could use it for inspiration, use some of the lyrics, I don't know, but it's the one that's inspiring me. It's called Oceans, and it's by Hillsong. I'll leave a link below. It's a really beautiful song, and the lyrics just really inspire me, so I want to use them. It is a Christian song, but I just feel so inspired by the song, so I definitely wanted to use it. The lyrics go something like this: "You call me out upon the waters, the great unknowns where feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep my faith will stand. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. Where feet may fail and fear surround me, you never fail and you won't start now. So I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Oh Jesus, you're my God. I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace. I am yours and you are mine. So that's what's inspiring this. So I want to go with like an oceany kind of theme. And my sister really likes blues and aquas, greens and things like that. So I feel like it will work well. So the next step is I want to spray these with some mists. And I'm going to use some blues and greens, maybe a tad of pink and purple. She's not a big pink fan, but I think pink will look really pretty too. So I'm going to start with this Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And it's a blue teal, or it's called teal, and it's Heidi Swapp Color Shine. And I'm just going to lightly mist these. So that looks good, just a few sprays. And I'm not trying to make them all the same, so I like that they're all going to be slightly different. And then I also have a couple greens, but I don't want to use all of these. I have Jubilee, Guacamole, and Oceanfront. So I know I don't want to use Guacamole because that's more like summer green. I think Oceanfront would look pretty. So just gonna spray it off to the side. Yeah, that'll look nice. And I'm doing it from pretty far away. Which is nice. So just a couple sprays of that. And I'm not actually sure if it's going to adhere really great to these canvases, but it's all worth a try, and if it doesn't, that's okay. So I've got a little blues and greeny colors. Also just got these Dilution mica sprays. So I don't know what they look like, and I've never used them before, but that's okay. I'm just gonna shake them up. They've got like a really cool shimmer in them. So I think they might look really pretty. Like, look at that. I don't know if you can see how pretty the shimmer is on camera. And they're brand new. Like, I've never used them. They're still in the packages. Or they still got like a saran wrap around them. I don't know. I don't know why they do that. It's like to make it kid-proof or something, but it's like actually sort of Tory-proof. Okay, so that one's out. Just gonna spray it over to the side and get it going. It's really pretty. And just give it a little bit of spray. You can hardly see it actually. So this is like the perfect pink, especially since my sister doesn't like pink that much. But you can see it gives it like a really subtle pink tinge. So that's pretty. Okay, so that's the pink mica spray by Dilutions. I don't see a name. Oh, Bubblegum Pink. Okay, and then this purple is called Crushed Grape. And I think purple would be a nice addition to this as well. So if I can open it up, I'll add a little purple. When it comes to mixed media, it's all about layers. Layer, 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 layer. I probably should have waited to put the pink on until the blues and greens were dry, because I feel like it could start to look a little muddy. So what I'm going to do actually before I add this purple is I'm going to grab a heat gun and like try to dry this a little bit. And then I'll add the purple on top and then that blue mica spray. That way it doesn't get too muddy. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, so those are dry, and it's actually really cool because I didn't put the gesso on perfectly. You can see it's sort of like creating its own pattern, which I feel like sort of looks like waves, and it's super pretty and totally unintentional, but really cool. So I decided to skip the purple now and just go with this blue, which is called Vibrant Turquoise. I'm shaking it up, and I'm just gonna spray it off to get it going, and then add a little bit of this. It's a little more subtle, but when you move it around, you can definitely see it. And I like that it's not going on perfect, but it's giving like a really pretty sheen and when it's up on the wall, it's going to look so cool. And when it catches the light, it'll be even better. So I'm going to leave that there, and I'm going to dry it again, and then after that, I will be able to do the next layer. So again, like I said, it's all about layers. Gesso, sprays, other things on top, just keep going. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, so the mica sprays are dry and they're giving like a really cool sheen. I'm liking where it's going so far. So I thought the next stage could be to add some more background layers. And I just picked up this Tim Holtz tissue wrap from Michaels. And I thought it would be really fun to use it. It's got this like really pretty designs on it, and it's tissue paper sort of, or it's like a cross between tissue paper and I want to say like wax paper almost, because it's got a like almost like a little bit of a waxy feel to it, and I think it's perfect for mixed media. So I'm just going to wind that up a little bit. And I'm going to use that and some Mod Podge. So I'm just going to rip a piece off. And I don't want it to be perfect. So I'm going to just tear some pieces and like Mod Podge them onto the background. And I'm not going to cover the whole thing. I'm just going to add it in little pieces. So I am using just Mod Podge. If I had Ranger Matte Medium, that would probably be the best, but I don't have that, and this is cheaper. So I'm just using matte, and I love my glass matte because it's super easy to clean. So I'm literally just gonna pour some of this onto my glass matte here, and I think the best way to do it is to create like a sandwich. So first you adhere the medium onto the background or onto the place where it's going. Then you add some of the medium onto the tissue paper or the tissue tape or whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called. And then you're gonna stick it down, sort of creating that like sandwich in between there, and then you want to put more on top. And that will really help it to almost, the tissue paper part will almost disappear, just leaving the design. And because I'm using matte medium, it will dry clear, or it's supposed to. So I really love the music notes, and I feel like it fits really well with like the inspiration, I guess. And this tissue paper by Ranger is perfect for this project. So I don't want to cover the whole background, like I said. I just want to add it in like random places. And honestly, guys, if you were going to do this project, don't try to make it just like mine. Rather, just go with whatever your heart feels and like do it. And don't try to be perfect, because if you try to be perfect, then you'll lose the fun in making it. I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to have fun. And the truth is that, like, I know my sister's going to like it. Well, I hope she does. And even if she doesn't, you know what she's going to like? The fact that I made it for her. So I'm going to just probably keep doing this for a little while. And then I will speed you guys up. Okay, so they're not dry yet, but I wanted to show you how I just tear the tissue tape extra pieces off. So after it's dried, that's the perfect time to do it, and then you can just tear the pieces off. You could also cut them off, but I'm just going to tear them, okay? Okay, so I let those dry. And then I tore off the side, so you can see it sort of gives like more texture to it, because it's not perfect straight edges. Doesn't line up perfectly to the side, which I really like. So then I thought I wanted to add just one more like texture to the background before I start working on the next layer. So I'm just going to use some gel medium, and this is Faber-Castell gel medium. And then I'm going to use this stencil, which I just got, and I believe it comes from Dilutions. And I'm going to use a palette knife, and I'm just going to use a tiny bit of gel medium. This gel medium is pretty old, so it doesn't really like have a lot of flow left to it, but it still works great. So I'm just going to stick a little bit on through the stencil using my palette knife. And I don't want them all to be the same again, so I'm just going to do something a little different on each of them. And you can sort of see it. It's clear, and it's going to dry clear, but it'll leave like an element that will resist whatever the next layer is. And you really don't need a lot of the gel medium. Just a little bit, and just scrape off any of the edges that came through. So I really probably just used like maybe a teaspoon of gel medium. That's why this little jar has lasted me so long. And to clean it off my palette knife and my stencil, I just use a baby wipe. And it makes it super easy to do. And you definitely want to make sure you clean it up quickly, because it's one of those things that will like harden on your stencil, and then you'll never be able to get it off, or you won't be able to get it off easily, that's for sure. And when you use a baby wipe, it's super fast. So there I have the 3 of them with the gel medium layer. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to let that dry. I'm actually going to use my heat gun to dry it. And when I come back, I'll do the next layer. Okay, so the gel medium is like mostly dry. And you can't totally see it, although if I catch it in the right light, you can sort of see that it's there. It's more to give like a resist to the next level than it is for like texture. I'm going to add texture later. So I'm not sure if distress inks will work, but I love my distress ink, so I want to try. So I'm going to just grab some of the blues and greens distress inks and see if the color works. So I have this blue one, which is called Faded Jeans, and it's really pretty blue. So I'm just going to use this mini ink blending tool and rub it on top. And it looks like it's picking up the ink pretty well. I'm not going to be perfect or anything. I just want to add some of these colors just to bump up the color a little bit. So as you can see, it definitely takes it to more of a blue tone when I add this. And there's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting it. I'm just sort of going with what I feel will look nice. I really love this blue. And I think it's like adding a really nice textural element, like another level up. So a little bit of that blue goes a long way. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of this one. This one is called Chip Sapphire. It's also blue. It's a little darker than the other one. And I don't want to add a ton of it, but what I do want to do is just add a little bit of it to just kick it up a notch. It just like gives it so much dimension when you add like a dark color like this, I think. Especially when you add it like around the edges like this. And you can also add it like along the edges of the, what do you call this? What's it called? Okay, I am losing words. It's okay. Okay, so that's the blue, and I think I might add just a little bit of some of the greens because I love these greens. This is Evergreen Bough. I love this green. It's such a pretty color. Just check out what a pretty color it is. And you can see that the gel medium is sort of like resisting it a little bit. Just sort of a fun element. And again, I don't really have a way that I'm doing this. I'm just sort of going for it and doing whatever I think will look nice and letting go of some of the desire for it to be perfect because I know it won't be perfect. Okay, so that was Evergreen Bough. And I want to add a little bit of this Pine Needles. It's a darker green. And again, I don't want to add too much, but I think it'll look nice in just a few places. It looks a little bit like the spray mist that's underneath. So fun. And then, just to add a little bit of something different, which is a little unexpected, I'm going to add a little bit of purple. And I'm actually going to use a stencil for this so that it creates like another kind of design. And I have this really cool stencil that comes from, where did it come from? Dilutions. So I'm just going to add some purple over top of the stencil. And again, not everywhere, but just in a few key places. And look at how cool that is. The stencil breaks it up a little bit so it's not like perfect, and then also the gel medium also resists it a little bit. And it just adds like a really cool element on top. And you can add as much or as little as you like. My sister really loves purple, so I think she'll like that added little bit of texture. And for this one, I think I'm just adding it around the corners. It looks so pretty. I'm really excited. So not a ton of purple, but it sort of bumps up the design elements a little bit. And that purple is called Dusty Concord. Okay, now that I've added distress inks, what I want to do is just mist them with a little bit of water, which will help the distress inks to like blend really nicely. And I don't know, I just love the way that it reacts to the water. So it makes it look really watercolory. So I'm gonna just let that dry for a few minutes and then hit it with my heat gun, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. Okay guys, I'm like so excited because everything I do, like each new layer, looks so nice. I'm like almost nervous to do the next layer, like afraid of what's gonna happen, but every time I do it, it like looks good, so I think I should keep going. So, I thought my next layer could be some paint, and then I also have this ink dabber, which I haven't used in a long time, but I think it could be really fun. It's sort of like the right color, and so I think it'll add some like cool elements. So what you want to do with these ink dabbers, this is a Mr. Huey Spring Sky ink dabber. You want to squeeze it and push down and then like sort of splat it. Like so. And it's like the perfect color for this. And depending on how long you squeeze it will like impact the how much ink will come out. That's pretty. Okay, so I did a couple on each. It also gives it a little bit of like texture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna dry that and then I'll come back in a second. Okay, there we go. So I let that dry. I also sort of used a like damp baby towel to just like soak up some of the color so it wasn't as strong, and it gave like a really cool next level layer to that. Okay, now I have 3 distress inks that are the right color. This is Stormy Sky, and I think it'll be a nice color. It's more a little matte than what I had before. And then this is, what color is this? This is Pine Needle. And then I also have Evergreen Bough, and I really like this color. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a baby towel, baby wipe, whatever they're called, and this one will work. And I'm just gonna do this paint a little bit on there, and then just use the baby wipe to pat it around, because I don't want it to be like perfect little circles. I want it to more give like just another layer to the paint that's on here. And you can use as much or as little as you like, and you can dab off as much or as little as you like. So the thing is, like, everybody's is gonna look different. If you were, even if you were using the exact same supplies as me, and you followed and you tried to do exactly the same thing as me, it would look different. And that's like one of the things I love about this project. Okay, so I used, that was Evergreen Bough that I used. And then I'm just gonna use like the tiniest bit of Pine Needle, because it is darker, but I just want a little bit of it on there. And again, just sort of sponge it around. There we go. And then I have this Stormy Sky that I'll just add a little bit of as well. And it's sort of like a purpley blue color. Perfect. All these layers just like add more and more and more detail, so that when you're looking at it, there's lots to look at. And I love that element. So, just gonna wipe this up here. I feel like they're like getting close to being done. I want to add a little bit of sparkle. Now, my sister is not a big sparkly person, so I'm going to add like the tiniest amount, because if it was me, I would want like sparkles everywhere, but I know that that's just not her, but I also can't do it if it's not me. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glitter. This is Stardust Stickles. It's like a white stickles, and just add a little bit on it with my finger. And like, honestly guys, I'm using like the teeniest amount, which is probably gonna still be too much for her, because she really is not a glitter girl. Glitter girl. But I feel like it just takes it up a notch when there's just a little bit of sparkle in there. Okay, that's more than enough. Okay, so I'm gonna let those dry, and then I will be back in a few minutes. Okay, so the very last layer for the background is gonna be some modeling paste slash stenciling. So, I think I want colored modeling paste. I don't want white. So I'm going to use my Faber-Castell gelatos to help with this. So I'm just going to, I think, try to just scrape off a little bit of the colors that I want. And I think I want it to be bluey green. I don't want a ton of green in there, just a little bit. So I'm just sort of like getting a chunk off using my palette knife. And a little more blue. Okay. And then what I can do is scoop some of the modeling paste out and then mix it with that gelatos that I wrapped out. And it's starting to color it. Now it's way more green than I wanted. I hate green. My sister likes it though, so I wanted it to be more bluey. So, and it's really grainy, but that's okay. I think it'll add more texture. So I'm just gonna add some more of this blue. And this is like a fun way to color modeling paste, is to like just add gelatos to it. And if you didn't want it to be so grainy, you could use something other than gelatos. But I like the graininess. I feel like it adds to the textural element. Just sort of fun. And you really don't need a lot, so try to mix less than what you think you're gonna need. It's still a little too green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some blue. And I'm going to do that by adding some of the color shine that I used earlier. So this is teal. You could also do this on like a palette other than your glass mat. But I am happy doing it here. Okay, that's closer to the color I want. I think I still want it bluier. Bluier. That's not a word. So I'm also going to add some of this ink dabber, which is like greeny blue. Okay, that will work. So I'm going to use this polka dot stencil, which I believe is Heidi Swap, but don't quote me on that. And I'm going to try to have restraint here and not use it everywhere like I really want to. It's just about adding that little bit of texture. And I'm almost sort of adding it to the parts that are already that color. I feel like it'll bump up that section. And again, I made way more than I actually need because these are so tiny, but you just get excited when you pull it out and you're thinking, oh, that's not gonna be enough, but then it always is more than enough. So that's okay. Okay, is that good? Yep. Okay, so you can do whatever with this. I know some people like to put it in their, what do you call it? Art journal. So that's what I'll do. I have this Dilutions art journal, and it's really cool because it's like black. I don't know, I wanted to do something different. By using a black art journal. I just feel like the colors pop so much in a black art journal. It's sort of fun. This is like a great way to use up extra mists, or not mists, like extra modeling paste or that you've colored, or something that you've colored and you don't want to get rid of, but you want to use it. And then later I can come back and make this page because it's already going to have this element on it. Okay, so I'm going to clean up and I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm really liking them. I want to just add a little white to it though, sort of like how on the ocean you've got like when waves crash, they have like a white foam almost. So I just want to add a little bit of white back to these. So I'm just going to use a little bit of gesso and a baby wipe and sort of sponge it on like so, just to add a little bit of that, like, I don't know, wave crashing foam, I don't know, whatever you want to call that. It probably has some name that I don't know, but to me it's like the foam on the top of a wave, and I feel like it just adds like a really nice element to this and it also helps to just tone down the intense color a little bit, which I like too, because I was feeling it was getting a little dark. Okay, so I used like the littlest bit of gesso just to add in that like foam on the top of waves crashing, because remember my inspiration for this is the song Oceans. Okay, and now for the last layer to the background, and this may either be awesome or it could take away from the whole thing. I wanted to add a little bit of gold because I feel like gold is such a pretty color, and also I feel like it'll just take this to like a whole another level. So I have this gold paint. It's actually fabric paint, so sorry I'm not using it the right way, but I love the color. So I'm gonna see if I can add water to it to make it a little runnier, because it's a little, because it's fabric paint and it's textured fabric paint, it's very thick, and I want to like make it more runny. So I just added a little bit of water for my spray bottle, and I'm just making the paint a little runnier, and you'll see why in a minute. You have to mix it pretty good. It actually wants to like resist the water, but that's okay, it will work well. So once you mix it, it gets really runny. So that works. So I'm actually going to make a little more. So I'm just going to add more gold paint and then more water until I get it to the texture that I really want. And I'm mixing it on my acrylic block because I don't have a, oh, I do have one. A palette. I was gonna say I don't have a palette, but I do have a palette, but whatever, the acrylic block was on my desk, so I'll just add a little more water because it's still too thick. And this is literally just water in a spray bottle. So I hope you guys are enjoying this video. It's a little different than what I normally do. Like, I normally do scrapbooking and Project Life videos, and I don't do a lot of mixed media because I honestly don't think I'm that great at it, and also because I know there are like incredibly talented mixed media artists like Wilna Furstenberg and Missy Whitten and Irit. They're just like such incredible, talented artists. And I feel like you could learn so much more from them than you could from me. So that's why I don't do a lot of mixed media like on camera. I do it for myself, but I don't know. I also don't really know the rules or like know how to follow them. So I feel like I shouldn't teach people how to do mixed media when I don't actually know what I'm doing. So as you can tell from the fact that I'm using fabric paint. So the reason I wanted it really runny was because I wanted it to be like a drip. And it is dripping slightly. I have to help it a little bit. So I'm just sort of like sticking a large dollop and then shaking the canvas or tapping it to make it drip down. You can also like help it with your paintbrush if you want to. So you can see that. And then I'm also gonna add one here, I think. I love the gold. I hope my sister likes this. She's not a big gold fan that I know of, but it's sort of fun. So I hope you guys can see that. I just sort of add like a big dollop and then let it drip. And so you can just hold it there while it drips. And when you have it like as far as you want it, you can stop tilting it. If you want it to drip more, just add a little more paint or help it with your paintbrush. I think it's not runny enough, and also I think the fabric paint sort of like makes it not drip. Great. Okay, so the backgrounds are done. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the lyrics on here. So obviously I'm not going to add all the lyrics. I'm just going to add a few of them, the ones that I feel like mean the most to me and probably to her too, or hopefully to her. And I'm going to use some stamping, and I also grabbed some shipping tags because I thought they would look, the color of the shipping tags would work well on here. So I'm just going to put those aside for a second. And I'm going to use black Memento Tuxedo ink. And these two alphabet stamps. So this one is a Studio 29 design. And this one is Studio Calico. And the lyrics that I decided to do are, I'm going to put on this one, Take Me Deeper. And then on the next one will be, Then My Feet Could Ever Wander. And then on the last one, I'm going to put, And My Faith Will Be Made Stronger. Maybe. I think. So I'm going to probably speed you guys up for this because you probably don't want to watch the whole thing. Okay, there we have it. They are done. So I showed a lot of restraint. I wanted to add stuff, but I know my sister isn't like a girly bling and whatever kind of person. So I wanted to add butterflies, and then I thought, no, she won't like that. So I compromised and I added a couple pearls. And so they are a little girly, but I just feel like they're like the final touch that take it to the next level. So I did go with that. So keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace. For I am yours and you are mine. And then there's just a couple pearls there, which sort of is like oceany too. If she really doesn't like them, she can pull them off. But I feel like that looks nice. And the nice thing about this is you can put them on your wall however you like. You could put them like in a straight line like this. And I think they'd look nice like that. You can put them like diagonal. You can put them straight across like this. You can sort of offset them a little bit. So really there's... And the song lyrics do go in this order, like keep my eyes above the wave, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. But like if you wanted to move it around, you could do that too, for I am yours and you are mine. So it all works, really. Okay, so those were really fun to make. They took me a couple hours, but they were totally worth it, and they were so much fun. And I feel like they're going to look so good in her new apartment. Hey, yeah. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see like more projects like this, let me know. Because I had a lot of fun making them, so I know I probably will make more. I'm not sure if it's something you guys enjoy. So let me know. Okay, bye guys.